Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of Builders Talk, and good morning to Larissa. So last week I was talking about what we can do to make changes that will put our business in a better position. And I was talking about the precursors that lead to business demise and what we can do to minimize impacts and detect changes early enough to make adequate changes in our business. And I was looking at some statistics where ASICS had nominated the top 5 causes of business failures in Australia. And those 5 were inadequate cash flow, poor strategic management, trading losses, poor financial control, and undercapitalisation. And today I'll be talking about trading losses. So trading losses are a sign that your business may be experiencing financial difficulties. So basically your trading losses are the bottom line in your profit and loss statement. So it's your income less the costs of goods sold minus your operating expenses, so your overhead costs. So in simple terms, this is when your expenses are more than your income is that's coming into your business. There are many factors that can lead to trading losses, and many businesses experience trading losses at some point in their business. So trading losses don't necessarily mean your company is insolvent, but they do signal that there is a problem that warrants being addressed by yourself. So you need to address this ASAP, and this is why it's important to regularly produce reports that will highlight your company's position at all times. You need to know so you can take evasive action and do it quickly when you identify that there is a cash flow issue. In my business, I like to be able to, on a day-by-day, be able to produce reports that indicate the cash position of my company at all times. And I had a little bit of a hiccup there with some of my employees where some of the invoices weren't getting entered every day. And I guess this then causes an issue when I go and look in the accounting system thinking that all the invoices have been put in because they're meant to be put in every day, and they weren't getting put in every day, which I wasn't really made aware of. So I was looking at my cash position and my bills that I had to pay and go, oh yeah, I've got, $100,000 worth of bills I need to pay at the end of the month. And I've got, for example, $100,000 sitting in my bank account. I'm okay. I've got enough money to cover those expenses that are coming up. But what really was happening was potentially I had an extra $100,000 worth of expenses that weren't even in my accounting system. So it wasn't marrying up with the money that I had in my bank account. And I rely heavily on this because I look at that and then I look at the money in the bank account, and that gives me the indication to say to my husband, the builder, we need to get more money in our bank account to cover our costs at the end of the month. So we need to get the homes that we're building to the next progress payment in order for us to have the money come in to pay for those expenses and materials that we've incurred for those clients. So not having those reports and not keeping those things up to date can really affect the day-to-day running of your business and can leave you short and in a bit of a tight spot if this, isn't kept under control. So it's in the nature of our business that we have a very high amount of cash flowing through our business. And it's the business model that we work under. And we need to be able to differentiate between money that is our clients' money and money that is our money. Therefore, it's our responsibility to ensure that we understand our company's position at all times. So when we sign a building contract with our clients, we are taking on the responsibility of building them a home in exchange for a fee, which is our profit. But unfortunately, some builders, and this is where we get tangled up in the whole dodgy builder mentality that our clients are wary of, take more than what they're entitled to, which in effect is taking the money from our clients. So our clients commission us to build their investment, their home, and we are in effect their investment manager. So they're trusting us with their funds to find some sort of return for them. So the return is that they're putting that money into building their house, and they're trusting us to wisely use their money to build the house that they're after and, get the right materials and the supplies and labor and build them a beautiful home. So they're trusting that we're investing that money and that we are using it on what we are supposed to be, which is building their investment. So there are many other factors that come into play that can easily lead to trading losses. for example, the current environment which we're working in, where there's price increases reaching levels higher than what we would profit from in our signed building contracts. And I've spoken about looking at our costs of goods sold and being loyal to certain suppliers. But in this present environment, it is a good time to review your pricing and start to get some quotes from other suppliers. Larissa's saying match income and outgoings is really hard, but critical for the health of our business. It is. And I did talk about that a little bit further on. So how are you recording your business transaction? How you're recording your business transaction can affect the way that you trade and can also impact your stress and anxiety levels. When you don't have a good system to record transactions in your business, it leaves you without the data you need to truly know where your business sits. In some states, we are governed to make payments within certain timeframes, and having up-to-date data allows you to see in real time your availability of cash. A lot of us forget to input receipts for things we purchase. For example, the builder buys materials on his credit card and doesn't provide you with the receipts in the office. And this can give us a bit of a false sense of security when we look into our accounting system. The accounts show all is well, but if you're not regularly inputting these transactions and checking your bank accounts, you'll be lulled into thinking you have more cash available than what you actually do. So, my builder husband can run his credit card up easily, in one day could easily add or take out $10,000 worth of expenses that if I'm not recording that in my accounting system, I think I'm $10,000 better off if I'm not sort of looking at his credit card statement, in conjunction. So if he's not giving you those receipts and you're not really checking that account, you can leave yourself short, and it doesn't take very long for those expenses to add up. So, do you ever look at the profit and loss statement and the bottom line says you have, for example, $200,000, and then you look in your bank account and you think, well, it's telling me I've got $200,000, but I don't have $200,000 in my bank account, and you wonder, why can't they just have a report that reflects exactly the money that is available? So some of our transactions, unfortunately, don't live on the profit and loss statement. Things such as car repayments, your repayments, might be $1,000 a month, but it goes towards the asset and is not shown on the profit and loss. And this is usually shown on the balance sheet. So the best person to speak to in relation to your accounting system and what reports you should regularly review is your accountant. They would be able to help you set up reports that will give you the ability to get a better picture of what is really truly going on in your business, because the profit and loss doesn't really show all of those expenses that you are actually paying out. So in my program, I have some spreadsheets that help forecast cash flow. So what money you can expect in from the next, from your current projects, and how they are staged out and what money you'll have coming into your business each month. And I like to be able to see if we'll have enough cash flowing into my business each month to cover my overhead and the expected expenses. We work on finding out how much money your business needs to have coming in regularly to cover your overheads. And another spreadsheet that we have designed to use in our business helps break down progress payments that come in. If you've ever read the book Profit First, they talk about having different bank accounts. So you can break up your bank accounts into different ones. So you might have one for tax, you might have one for savings, you might have one for profit, whatever accounts you decide you want to set up. But I mentioned earlier that a lot of the money we receive is the customer's money to pay for the materials, the supplies, and the labor for the projects. And this spreadsheet helps determine the amount of funds that will be required out of each progress payment that we get to be allocated to those expenses. So you clearly know what amount is your profit and your overheads and your tax amounts, so that you then know this is how much money, should hopefully cover the expenses that I've incurred for that job, provided you've been really good on budgeting for that job. So most of our licenses restrict us to the amount of work we can undertake by putting limits on the contract amounts that we can sign up. And this is done to try and ensure that builders don't overcommit and don't have the available liquid assets to cover the low cash flow times and expenses that we may need to pay for prior to receiving progress payments from our clients. So often, you do look at your profit and loss statement and it does show that you've got trading losses. But because of the nature of our business and the way that our business model is, where we are, doing a lot of the work, we have to do the work before we get paid. So you might look one day and it's negative, but then the next day the client's payment can come in and it'll change that position. So it is very hard for us to, and that's where the stress and anxiety comes from. You look one day and you've got no money, the next day you've got money. So it's being able to have those spreadsheets and those forecasting components to alleviate that stress and anxiety, so that okay, I am negative at the moment, but I know that this payment is coming in within the next X amount of days, and that will cover what I need to pay for at the end of the month. So some, I guess, clients like to have an overdraft facility that they can use for these times when, they haven't got the money that's come in, the client has paid late, or, there's people might have other forms of capital. And not typically, but often, and it happened to us back when the GFC hit, we came close to bankruptcy and we had to refinance our home, which I stated at the beginning of when we opened our business, this was something I never wanted to do. I never wanted to put our family home in jeopardy, but when faced with losing everything, we had no other option than to take this route. So sometimes your business may need a cash injection, and this cash injection may be needed to give you the time to turn your business around. But sometimes we need to realize when maybe it's time to let go of our business before we do lose more than what we're prepared to lose. So when you go through periods like this, this is where you find whether you've got a fight or flight reaction that will kick in. So typically builders will fight. They'll fight for their business. And this is when you, I guess, look back and realize that this is a point of growth in not only in your business, but within yourself. So it was at the time that happened that I started to realize that I maybe needed some help and some support to get the systems and processes in our business so that we did ensure that our business was around for, a longer term success. But unfortunately, we leave this growth period to when we are in dire straits rather than stepping up and seeking support prior to this happening. I guess you learn when it is a necessity in your business in order for it to successfully run, and you'll learn what overheads you thought you needed but realize you didn't, and it can be cut. So I never, I guess, understand the whole car leasing thing. Obviously know why people lease a car, but to me, it's a continual overhead within my business. Yes, you get a new car every 3 years, but why not have a car for many years? We all, all the cars that we have in our business now, they're all owned, and I no longer have the monthly overheads that I have to worry about for the lease repayments for those cars within my business. I've kept those cars for 8 years now, and I'll continue to keep those cars for as long as I can so that I no longer have those overhead payments, which allows me, one, to profit a bit more money because I'm no longer paying for those cars that constantly keep rolling over, and gives me the ability to go, okay, well, that's $1,000 a month less that I have to worry about finding to pay for. That's $12,000 a year. So, that might be one less job, small job, of profit that I don't need to worry about getting anymore. So you just need to look at things slightly different from the norm, and people don't want to pay, I guess, the tax man. You always hear these people, I've got to spend stuff. I've got to go and spend. I'm at the end of, it's coming up to the end of the financial year. I need to go and spend stuff because I'm going to have to pay tax. But I don't see the benefit of spending money to not pay tax. If you aren't paying tax, you're not making money. So sure, if you need to get something new, a new printer, a new computer, some new tools, by all means, purchase them, but look at whether that is necessary expense for your business now, because you're only really saving yourself, 20%, 28% on that purchase. That's the tax rate that, it gets reduced by. But I'd rather be paying tax than buying unnecessary items just to reduce my tax bill. We started our business to make a difference in our lives, and spending your hard-earned cash on more tools or a new car when it is not necessary doesn't really serve us that well. Use the money to take your family on a trip. Put it back into your business for the lean times. Put the money into an investment for your future. These are the steps that you can take to implement into your business to ensure your business can increase and you're reducing your trading losses. And if you want to learn more about ways to reduce trading losses, I go into more detail in my Built Up to Nail Down program. But until next week, keep powering your business.